Okay, so motorcycle. If you're looking into getting a motorcycle, or you already ride one and want some tips and advice, feel free to pop up a comment. But basically this video is just going to be a basic quick video about what does different things. Just trying to think of the best way to explain it. Okay, so basic motorcycle functions. You've got throttle on your right hand, accompanied by the front brake, and a kill switch on most bikes. So kill switch is in the off position, the bike won't start at all. If the engine's on, it'll cut out. You've got, sounds like a cat. You've got ignition here, electric. So on modern day bikes, I think it goes for all bikes now, you can't just push in the ignition to start the bike, you have to pull in the clutch and press the ignition like that. Okay, so on the other side you've got indicator, hazard warning lights, full beam, normal beam, and clutch, which is that. Now obviously clutch is important, throttle's important, brake's important. They might not use hazard warning lights, so I won't worry too much about that. And as we go down, we've got passenger foot peg, rider foot peg. Now this is important. These are your gears, okay? So your shifter, depending on what you want to call it. Now with the shifter, it starts in neutral. No, you can start the bike in any gear, but always make sure you're in neutral as a good sort of rule of thumb. So the way the gears work: 1, neutral, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it doesn't really go in that position. The gear lever doesn't move, so 1, neutral, 2, 3, 4. It always goes back to the same position. So it's not like you're pushing it up and it's staying up. It like clicks back down. It makes more sense when you look at it yourself, to be honest. What else is there? That's about it really. You know, it's not anything difficult. Other things that you might want to keep an eye on: oil. Just make a quick observation of your oil check. Normally you get a little glass reservoir with like a oil level on it. Just make sure it's topped up. And that's it really. So we'll jump on. Always get on from the left hand side. Just jump your leg over and sit yourself down. Okay, so when you're sitting on the bike, fly, the best way, you get taught to always have your right foot on the back brake when you're in a stationary position, just so you can't roll anywhere. So right now I've got my right foot on the back brake, which I didn't explain in the video before. So back brake is down by your right foot peg. So front brake, back brake, clutch, gears. So on the right hand side of the bike you've got your braking system. On the left hand side of your bike you've got your gears and shifting. So quite important to remember. It's all on the same side, so it can be a bit of a help, I suppose. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is start your bike. Now on most modern day bikes, pull in the clutch and press your ignition. You don't need to give it any throttle at all. You might do, if your bike's a little bit cold. Some bikes have also got a choke, which is if your engine's cold or you have trouble starting, you can pull the choke out a little bit and it just helps kick up the revs and start your bike. So once you've got all your gear on and you're sitting on your bike and you're ready to go, easiest way to start, pull in the clutch. Now I'm not sure if you're able to see this. Okay, so gear lever is there. Now you want to kick it down, so it's in first gear now. Neutral light has gone off, we're in first. Now very, very slowly you want to let out the clutch. So you start moving forward, let out the clutch. Now when you first jump on your bike, you'll probably do this. Yeah, stall the bike. Now don't be too worried if you stall the bike, it's not an issue or anything. All you do, just pull the clutch back in and start the bike as we did the first time. But pop it back into neutral if you stall it. Otherwise, if you're panicking, you know, you don't want to shoot forward, so pop it back into neutral and restart. Okay, so the best thing to do to start off with is just play with the clutch here and feel the biting point. So there is a point on the clutch where the bike will start moving forward. Now you want to let it out really, really slow, and as you let the clutch out, you want to give it a little bit of gas. So it looks something like this: clutch out, throttle on, clutch out, throttle on. Now you don't need to give it too much throttle, as I'll demonstrate. You can actually pull away just by using the clutch if you're careful. So I'm not going to use any throttle, and we'll show you. Okay, so I've got the bike moving just by using the clutch, no throttle at all. Now in first gear, just by pulling off with the clutch, you'll idle at probably around 5 or 6 miles an hour. So I'm not using any throttle at the moment. All I'm doing is steering the bike. The bike is moving on its own. Okay. Now if I want to stop, I obviously brake, but at the same time as braking I need to pull in the clutch and come to a stop. Okay. So if you want to start properly without just using the clutch like I did the first time, you need to use a bit of throttle while releasing the clutch. So clutch out, throttle on. You can probably hear the revs as opposed to the first time when there wasn't any revs. Okay, so now we're in first gear, we can have a little play around with the throttle. Don't be too mad with the throttle. Don't need to go too fast, but bit of a twist, bit of front brake. Now a lot of riding, it's just practice using the clutch and practice using the throttle. Now you can feather the clutch in and out to get different amounts of power. So if you want to, you can use lots of throttle, but if you pull in the clutch, then it isn't going to go anywhere, it isn't going to mean anything. So you can keep the revs high. As you can see, my revs are high, but I'm not going anywhere. That's because I've got the clutch holding. So practice using the clutch to move, pull it in to try and stop, and practice with your braking. Don't really use too much of this when you're starting out. A lot of people, and it's where a lot of accidents tend to happen, when they first get on the bike, they want to give it a fistful of throttle. Not the best thing to do. You want to start off just by practicing with the clutch in and out. So I'm not even going to use this. Practice at slow speeds, just feathering the clutch in and out. Okay. Now you can practice doing this for an hour or so, just for you to get familiar with the clutch. Things like this you'll be doing on your CVT, which I talked about in an earlier video. Okay, so that is basic motorcycle functions, what we're doing now. Now, the next video I will talk about shifting.